What's going on? I want to bring you guys the coronavirus in prisons. I got a guest, Mark Clements. He's done 28 years in prison. That's why I want to have him on. He could give me an insight to what's going on. Now, the jail, the scene that you're seeing right now, this is a scene out of Kansas City. They're rioting because they're being treated inhumanely and not being able to protect themselves from this deadly pandemic. What's going on, Mark?
Hey, I am blessed and excited to be able to explain to your viewers accurate information as to what is taking place inside of our U.S. prisons.
So now they say we got over 700 staff and inmates with the coronavirus just in Illinois alone. That's federal and state prison. There was another brother that I know is an inmate. He just got out. Now, you say you just got out too?
Yes, I was detained on a misdemeanor warrant, so it placed me in the Cook County Jail for Wednesday and Thursday. And what I seen was mind-blowing. And I seen a epidemic of Cook County sheriffs that were making no attempt to basically safeguard the inmates from the spread of this virus, let alone carrying themselves of spreading the virus to inmates. And I believe that this is unconstitutional, and it's unconstitutional. It should not occur, and the people must become outraged over the fact that here we have law enforcement basically placing individuals in harm's way. And as what took place in the state of Kansas City is mind-blowing, but it is the only way that those individuals know how to express themselves to draw any attention due to the fact that they're watching right before their own two eyes correction officials not caring how, that they're not providing adequate cleaning supplies, sanitizing materials so that they can keep their cells clean. They're not providing them with anything so that they can safeguard themselves from this virus.
And you know firsthand, I want to play everybody a video of a brother who's in jail and he's next to two people dying of the coronavirus as he's in the cell taping this. You guys, take a look at this.
Here to die, it's probably like 3 dudes I know already and shit. You feel me? Motherfucking, they took out this bitch dead that I literally knew and shit. The rest of these motherfuckers just sick as hell, They talking about social distancing and shit. You feel me? Nigga can't even social distance and none, cause nigga, look at this shit. Hold on. This motherfucker over here, they talking about stay 6 feet from motherfuckers and shit. And look at this shit. This motherfucker over here. This motherfucker over here dying from corona. They got this motherfucker in my room and shit. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck I'm supposed to live? You know what I'm saying? Then they talking about stay 6 feet. Then they gave us these motherfucking masks and literally said good luck. You feel me? Now right now I ain't got that shit. You feel me? But I got a motherfucking little light ass drug sense.
So, and that's just one video. I want to show everybody the one where they're rioting, because at the end of the day, I seen people commenting on this like, oh, they shouldn't be in jail. They are human beings. These people are our family, our loved ones, and everybody didn't have the privilege and the opportunity as everyone, and they don't deserve to die. We're the richest country in the world, and we can't protect our own inmates. Look at this scene right here.
COs want to try to do us wrong, knowing that they got this disease going around, and they're giving it to us, and they want to send us in here, and we can't do nothing. They won't let us take showers. They won't let us. They turned the water off. They won't let us do anything. They deny us food. We tired of talking. We gotta do this. You know what time it is? You know what time it is? Just that time. It's war time. Fuck us up in there. Shit. All me.
So they're saying no showers, they cut the water off, and they get away with this type of stuff in prison. What do you want to say about that, Mark?
Well, being placed in this holding facility in Maywood under the Cook County Sheriff's Department, I didn't have water in my cell either. The cell was dirty, and the bottom line of it is, this is terror as to what they are inflicting upon the brothers and the sisters. We do know that the system is dogmatic. They are using this as a form of genocide, and it's happening right before our eyes. And if those brothers did not have access to release that video out into society, people would be disbelieving them. And the guards would be able to share their narrative and to state that the inmates just snapped to just snap. Well, this is what America has made out of the prison system, because it does not want to treat human beings right. And I find it amazing to have so many brothers and sisters that are locked up in U.S. prisons, and you get such little impact from people in society. We are a people that must understand that if this virus is not basically put out on all levels, is going to remain to spread, and it's going to remain to affect those inside of prisons as well as those in this society.
And it's not fair that they're not able to defend themselves. I mean, it's 4 people in some of these cells. Yes. Freshly new people put in the cells. This guy, one of them was saying that they didn't even get a chance to wash their hands. They're not given, a lot of them don't have masks. A lot of them got food trays that they got to eat and share, and it's a tragedy. And it was a lot of abuse.
Let me tell you, Donald, and this is one thing that I want to get out there. In Illinois prisons, they put the food on the galleries and slide the trays down the gallery floors to give it to the inmates in chuck holes. All of this stuff is inhumane, and when you really think of it, these are people that have been hired by whatever state or whatever federal government that have hired them to come in to be professional, but they have done everything to show that they're not professional, and they want to dog the inmates. And I think that if you're going to be the jailers over individuals, you should not come in with some type of attitude that you got to mistreat everyone. And I think that what you see here in Kansas City, this is going to spread because, I work for the Chicago Torture Justice Center, and we have been having staff meetings, I'm talking about around the clock. And we've been hearing some pretty disturbing things as to what's taking place behind the prison walls. But let's keep this in appropriate perspective. We have a governor in the state of Illinois, J.B. Prisoner, and he promised that he would not be like the other people. And he has literally left our families and people inside of these prisons to die.
All right, I want to tell you guys the growing problem in Illinois. They're saying there's a growing medical and humanitarian crisis inside some Illinois prisons. The escalating danger behind bars continue. The total number of prisoners and prison staff infected with COVID-19 Illinois is reaching 700. And it's being brought into the prison. They haven't went anywhere. And then that number jumped 10% in one day. Friday. Today is Saturday. This is a new article. We already know that, that prisoners are already treated inhumanely already. And this is a growing problem. Those of you watching, anybody just get out of jail or know somebody in jail that want to chime in? I'm a witness. My son, North 26, California, is a hot mess. My son is sick. 3 people died already. Wow. You say 3 people, Loretta, already died?
Yes. And they have already. Matter of fact, when I was being released Thursday night, a brother passed away as well. And the thing about it is, what the people are not seeing is the fact that the Cook County correction officers, they're laughing about this while this virus is killing them as well. And I just don't understand what is their logic behind this, because their retaliatory methods has backfired, and they're the ones that has basically been infected because they allowed the inmates to be infected. And at the Cook County Jail, you can just look at the faces of inmates and you can just see like tears. That means they're sick. And they have these guys in tents. They got them in hospitals all around 26 in California. And they're keeping this stuff quiet. But the real secret of all of this rests upon the Illinois Department of Corrections, who's providing, false information. It's a lot more cases inside of those prisons, but they have undermined the cut of individuals that have been affected. And the reason I mention our Illinois governor is that he promised that he would bring a stop to this. And in Illinois prisons, they're hiding the real true numbers of individuals that are being affected, as well as the individuals that are dying.
All right, I want to show you guys a little bit of this footage. How long until the inmates say, man, F this, we got to take matters into our own hands, because it's do or die at this point. It's either they take matters in their own hands or they die. That's the what they're faced against. Look at this.
It's a madhouse.
They waving. Look, these are about second my head.
They not helping us. They not helping us in here.
Hey, they not here too easy.
You can talk to her. Niggas is lying. They can hear me? Yeah, niggas lying, nigga. They not helping us in here. They not helping us, nigga.
We in here doing what we want to, nigga. This nigga got the police jacket on. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Fuck this, nigga.
Anybody know how to call out? Hey, I was throwing all this shit out the window, Alex. Hey, does anybody know how to call?
So, I've seen in movies of prison riots, you've done 28 years inside for bogus murder. You're part of the John Berg torture victims.
Yes.
You've seen the most injustice, like the Hurricane Carter, 28 years, or Nelson Mandela with 28 years. That's a long time. I ain't but 40. Man.
Donald, this is the problem with our communities and our criminal justice system. They're punitive, and they have used race to commit certain acts of genocide. And we all know that that is what occurred under the John Berg torture scandal. Here it is, a high ranking commander is fired for torture, but he's allowed to keep his pension. He's allowed to keep his good name. He goes to prison and he still keeps his pension and keeps his good name over the fact that he ran a torture ring that basically tortured over 200 African Americans and Latinos inside of police stations. So I think the outrage should be upon some of these elected officials that have allowed for these laws to stay intact, that protect these guilty individuals that commit these heinous acts against individuals just to draw convictions.
You know what? And that's something that, we need to do collectively. We need to have a drawn out list from the candidates that we vote for. Democrat, Republic, whoever it is. Here's what we want. Here's what we need to see. If you're not, if you don't come deliver this, we voting you out. Or you're not getting our vote. Democrat or Republic, whoever can't meet these needs, you out of here. And our brothers and sisters in jail, because we know we got 80% of our young brothers and sisters are in jail. So we got a vast majority of brothers. So every one of us has family in there. So this is affecting all of us from our community because our family friends are all up in there. Somebody mentioned Vegas. There's a lot of, and so now I got a homeboy that just got locked up over some petty stuff. I thought they would, and here's what one prison offered. They offered to let everybody out, but they're convicted, and they'll take a conviction and be let off. And a lot of people's like, no, I'm not taking a conviction. I didn't do it. You're innocent until proven guilty. So they were saying, okay, we'll let you out, but take a conviction. What do you think about that, bro?
Well, I think that what they are, once again, they're concerned over injustice and protecting injustice rather than protecting the people. We have seen where that it has been profit over people. And once they draw basically that guilty plea, it's hard for those individuals to ever maintain a life structure due to the fact that they are always under the gun of the system. They don't know if they can go certain places, what they can do. Maybe they may say something that offends the system, and the system cooks up ways now to reincarcerate them. So I think that it's a tough call to make, but they're making the call based off upon the fact that if they walk out of those prisons with that on their record, that they will not be able to take care of themselves, let alone their families.
So I did a show about the bait truck, and they stuck a truck full of Nike Air Jordans next to a basketball court. I hit the roof. I was pissed off about that, and the reason why, I told them, take that up north. Why are you baiting our children? The reason why they're baiting our children, I'll tell you why. You get a felony. A $200 shoes is felony. So now you can't get a job. You can't vote. The only thing you can do to feed your family is to sell drugs. And there, they got you. Boom. You can't become a police officer. You can't get a job. So now you start selling drugs. And now they got this revolving cycle. Then they say, oh, why don't y'all become police officers? Oh, wait, but look at this paper right here. See, when you was 11, you stole a candy bar. Oh, you can't be a police officer. Next, up. None of y'all can be a police officer. So let's get somebody from Mount Greenwood. Let's get somebody from up north to patrol Inglewood, who hates the people in Inglewood. So now let's shoot this unarmed. Yeah, we're scared of them. They hate the community. It used to be a time to where the police are supposed to protect and love the community, to help the community. Community I grew up in, there was one officer, from the community. And he was the one that saved me and saved a lot of people who will be destroyed today. To this day, I will be destroyed, and a whole lot of other. He's the only one that cared. Got out and said, hey, man, look, you don't need this. Stay away from them. They watching them. Stay away from this. That loving, caring. And once you see love and compassion, then you'll see cooperation with the police. You'll see us being able to interact and have, but it's just the opposite. And so the prison system, man, during a pandemic like this, it's bound to get ugly. And they already locked down 24 hours now. What's the lockdown situation in there?
Yes. And, you know, another point of this that the brothers and sisters want me to get out to the people is the fact that on shower day, they're running approximately 150 people a day to those showers without cleaning them. And the inmates are only entitled to one shower per week during a pandemic, where that if they touch the wrong thing, they are affected. So if they have no adequate way to keep themselves clean and have nice, good running water, it only opens the door for that virus to eventually affect them. And another way, over at the jail, how they are getting people, this virus spreads through coldness. So the bottom line is cold inside the jail, and they're feeding them cold food. When I was in the jail for a stretch of almost 2 days, they fed me in totality 6 bologna sandwiches. 1 bologna sandwich each meal. Nothing green, no snack, no nothing. Just a bologna sandwich and a juice. Now, come on. That means my body can't fight off certain diseases and viruses, and that means that I'm going to be weak. And many people don't comprehend to that, but that's how a lot of people are catching the virus that's deadly, is that their body, the immune, can't fight the virus off, and the virus overtakes their body. And I think that we have to get very serious about this, and we have to put the blame where the blame lie, and that is with Tom Dart, who is the Cook County Sheriff. He has to step up and make sure that those guys are being treated right. He's claiming that he's making sure that they're treated right, but they're really being treated like dogs. During this pandemic, they're being called names. They're being called out of their names, horrible names by guards, because they mad that they got to work inside of the jail. And the inmate has nothing to do with that. And I just think that this is 100% wrong. We all know that it's inhumane, and we have all of these politicians talking about they care, but we don't see no change, especially when it comes to our people.
Oh, you know what? I did a story about Mississippi prisons. I did several stories, and they were already being treated absolutely like pure animals. And
Yes.
the reaction when I did that video from some people, they literally thought, oh, okay, F them, they're inmates, they're prisoners. And so, so much do you see prisoners automatically being rolled off. Now, understand this, people. Prison is supposed to be somebody where you get reformed, that you come out better. But we know for absolute fact, it's there to destroy you. Because when you keep, it's already been proven, if you lock somebody up in those conditions, they come out 10 times worse. And most of them, if not all of them, have PTSD. Yes, it's designed for them to go back. Yes, they want you to come back. Yes, they profit off you going. They profit off you going. They want you to come back. That's one of the reasons I do what I do, because I don't want to see my young brothers and sisters going into the system to pay for this state, this slave labor they're purposely doing. I forget over 2 million people in prison, and the largest number in the world here in America. We got the largest, and in a pandemic, that's terrible. We got a president that's more worried about the economy than actual human lives, and so we're definitely not going to get any help from the state level. It's going to take the people in the communities to change the conditions, man. Mark, hey, bro, good looking out, man. I'm glad you came on, man. You're like one of the few that can speak up for the prisoners because you did 28 years. You know what's going on in there. Tell people what's the worst thing that you can see in prison. Worst that people don't see, and worst just what happens in there.
Well, I have seen riots. I have seen brothers and sisters victimized. And when I say brothers and sisters, people forget we used to have co-ed prisons. And I have seen brothers, man, just victimized, man, by each other and by the criminal justice system because they don't care. And that's one thing a lot of people don't seem to understand. This criminal justice system don't care about human life. And I just want to give people just a little short narrative of who I am. I was a 16-year-old child back in 1981, taken to Area 3 violent crimes. I had my genitals and testicles tortured until they forced me to repeat a spoon-fed confession to me. And I just literally sat in prison for many, many, many years because it was a political fight to make sure that our narrative was never believed by the system due to the fact that it was higher-uppies who were protecting them because most of them were either friends of someone within the court system. Richard Daly was the Cook County State's attorney, and it was strictly convictions rather than innocence. And you almost got the rough end of the stick by saying that you were innocent when you went into those courtrooms back then. So what most people would do is to plea bargain. And we fail to realize that we have a criminal justice system where that they gain over 95% of plea bargains. And thanks to the Innocence Project, they have been able to discover that more than 50% of that 95% have been actually innocent. This is mind-blowing. People who never committed the crime walking inside of a courtroom because they fear getting the worst by a judge and saying that they did something that they never even did. But I have seen everything that is unimaginable inside of a prison, and it amounts to nothing but trauma. The post-traumatic stress is heavy from people that are leaving out of our prison systems, and the only way that they give us any type of attention to this post-traumatic stress is now that it's starting to affect them and their communities because their children are coming back and they can't function after maybe a year and a half inside of a so-called good prison. We're placed in the prisons that are basically falling apart, and we have to make it do with putting toothpaste to hold things together, or else, man, people just don't have the knowledge to just understand that when you lock young children up for things that they didn't do, first of all, and you take 28 years out of that child's life, when you release that person back into society, they're not going to be able to function. And, people are not looking at it from a real standpoint. Here it is, you done took all the housing away from them. You done took all the jobs away from them. So some people just say, well, hey, listen here. All my life, I'm going to be a drug dealer due to the fact that I know my government ain't going to give me what I need so that I can survive out here in this world. And I just think that is so cruel. And for the people, meaning the people, and especially black and brown people, to adopt this narrative, what they have done is they have locked their own children inside of cages, thinking that it's going to make their children better, and their children come out far worse and can't function.
Well, you know what? In other countries, prisons are, some countries, not all, but there is some prisons that actually there to reform you.
Yes.
They give you education, they make sure you never come back, and they reform you. That's what it's supposed to do. We know that it's just the opposite. It's supposed to bring you back. And how anybody survive on the outside is you got to have a strong family that's pulling together and looking out. But if you don't have that, you're coming right back in. You're going right back into the jail system. No question.
Yep.
You're doing
And
it.
Donald, let me get this little narrative out, because this is very important too. When brothers and sisters come out of the prison system, yes, they are dependent upon family, but 9 out of 10 times, it's the wives and the girlfriends or the husbands and boyfriends that are willing to take these people in. Well, what you end up finding out is because these guys don't have anything to survive, they become victimized by the girlfriends or the wives or the husbands, and they become victimized so that they can gain. And what is the most common victimization tool is they holler domestic. And now little Timmy, who walked into a courtroom maybe 15 years ago, now he finds himself on probation. All of those 15 years due to the fact that they kept pinning little petty cases on him, and those little petty cases, such as he got caught with a bag of marijuana, or he was out and he got cited 3 times for selling cigarettes on the CTA L tracks, or maybe failure to report to his parole agent because he didn't have $3 for a bus. See, so this is the things that we need to be addressed from our community, and we need a better base with the community and inside of the prisons. The reason prison officials do these things to the guys is due to the fact that they look at that in most cases their families don't speak up. And if their families don't speak up, then there's no opposition because the prisoners are voiceless.
Okay, here's what I want to tell people, and I tell people, I try to do on my Life in the Shots YouTube channel, I try to talk about solutions. Now, I want to talk solutions, and my solution is this. Our children get victimized so much because the families have no power. With no money, you have no power. You think a senator's kids are going to sit in there and get treated like that? Not even for a second. Do you think a judge's kids are going to be, or a police officer's kids, or a CEO of Microsoft kids are going to be treated like that? We have no money. You think the CEO of Ford and the CEO of these companies' kids are going to be victimized and treated like that? Not even a little bit. So with no money, no power. You write the judge from blah, blah, blah from Inglewood. The judge is going to look at it. But if this letter comes from somebody important, the CEO of Ford is writing you, Judge Jones, whoever they are. And he's going to take it seriously. Like, oh, snap. Which pod is this guy in? This guy is locked up. Oh, he's not being fed. He's only given one shower a week during this pandemic. Let's make some moves. Because his family could get on the phone and call some people up. See, we have no money. We have no power. You are our weakest link. You can't even afford to eat at the table. You can't even make it to the table. So you're not even sitting at the table. So your voice, and that's what I keep telling people, money is power. And when you got money, people listen. If you have no money, ain't nothing you can do. Ain't nothing you can say. And nobody cares what you say anyway, because you're weak. But if somebody over there can pay my mortgage, is paying my mortgage, oh, I'm listening to him over there. Go ahead, bro. I mean, we can shake our fist outside of the prison, man, but they don't have to listen. They don't have to. Yeah. We gonna keep voting them in. They gonna get our vote no matter what. That's one thing is a solution. We can say, hey, Priska, hey, homeboy, I don't care what you're doing. We not voting you in. Okay, you're gonna give us this, that, and the other. But our children can't be victimized in these prisons, homeboy. You gotta come with it, or you're not getting our vote, Democrats.
Correct.
Y'all gotta meet us fully, or you ain't getting out. None of y'all are. Go ahead, yes.
Bro. Well, you know, one thing that I think that most people in society don't clearly understand, at least in the jail system, those guys can vote. And until they come together as a collective and say, well, listen here, Mr. Sheriff, you won't feed us right, you won't do this right, you gotta go. And start to put in people that share their same views, then they're going to be stuck under the control of a particular political party, and that's what they're being held hostage. They're being held hostage by the Democratic Party out of Cook County, and it's not one Democrat that don't know how horrible individuals are being treated in the jail, and they claim that they can't help you. So if they can't help you, then what good is it to vote for these individuals that are constantly out to do you harm? So that means we got to bring some candidates forward that we know is going to at least do the right thing. And for Tony Preckwinkle, being the Cook County Board President and knowing how those conditions are and not holding back funds from the Cook County corrections, I find that pretty messed up, because she has the power to do that. Now she's listening to families explain this, and she's agreeing that the conditions are grievous, but she ain't doing anything about it. She can withhold their dollars. You have older people that are locked up in these jails and prisons. People like Stanley Howard, who has been locked up 33 years of his life, and he's an older individual. People like Gerald Reed, who is suffering all sorts of medical issues. But because the governor now, he's issued, well, I'm not going to let individuals go that are accused of murders, but I will let individuals that are accused with lesser crimes go. Well, she had to get her narrative in. So, you know, I think we as a people, we need to force all of these politicians to sit in a room and to listen to our true concerns and give them a timetable to correct this mess. And then if they don't, let them know the consequences while they're in that room, letting them know if you don't correct this, we as a collective race, we're going to vote you out of office. But this is what politics do. They go to individuals that are poor and say, hey, listen here, you want a job? I'll pay you 2.5 grand every 2 weeks. All I need you to do is to sell to your community that I'm doing my best to help those that are in the jails or the prisons or those who find themselves going through the criminal justice system. But in reality, they're not doing anything to help these individuals, and they're keeping them stuck. It goes back to a brother by the name of Rodney Reed out of Texas, where that all the evidence and all the scientific evidence in the case links towards a police officer, but they done found this black man guilty of allegedly killing a white woman, and they're not seeing themselves following their laws. So he's still locked up and on death row. And I just think this is so wrong. We're watching injustice right before our eyes, but we're not doing anything. We, the people, got to come together. And then we must demand as a collective for these elected officials to either accept our approach, or else you're going to be voted out if you don't accept this narrative that basically draws and brings justice and humane treatment to the prisoners. So, I seriously urge the people to begin to come together, because without unity, then that means we're divided and we don't have no power and we don't have no resources.
So, you know what? My thing is this. It's a new day, new strategies. Everybody has new strategies. The community has to have new strategies. What I mean by that, spend your money in your community so that the people in your community, therefore your children wouldn't have to go to jail. We spend 98% of our money outside our community. Therefore, your children don't have jobs. Therefore, your children have to sell drugs and break in houses. Then your children end up in jail. Now, we must turn that around. Money equals power. You don't see these big rich houses these children having to rob because they already got it. They don't have to sell drugs. They don't have to kill and shoot each other. They ain't traumatized in the brain by the time they're 15. So collectively, we have to start on all angles. For one, you're broke. So when you're broke people, you're weak people. They don't have to listen to us. For what? Do you got a broke friend that has zero money, that's a bum on the streets? No matter how much they complain, you don't care because you're a bum. Beat it. That's us. You're a bum. Beat it. Oh, yeah, you can cry all you want while you're laying on the street, but you have no power. But the CEO of Ford can unite a whole world. Celebrities, they can easily just cut them off from movies. But anyway, bro, I appreciate you, man. I want you to come on because you, out of anybody, know what go on in the prisons. You've done 28 years. 28 years. I couldn't even imagine that, brother.
It's mind blown.
For something you did not do. That's crazy. And, a lot of people seen the Central Park 5 and, collective, that was the first time a lot of people can't even watch it because it was so real. A lot of people can't even imagine that can actually go on in a prison. No matter how many letters you write to the judge don't care. You're an inmate. And even when I did the video, a lot of people didn't care because they felt, this person broke the law. They deserve it. Until it becomes their family member. That's when, and they robbing the families. Man, my homeboy just called and they wanted me to put, a minimum $15 on the card and $2-3 a minute, and had I, you know what I'm saying? I know loved ones who want to talk to their family or wives and their kids. They getting raped for money, just to talk to their children. Anyway, bro, is there anything quick you want to say before you get out of here?
Well, I would just ask the people to get involved with the groups in your cities and in your states that you know that is fighting to end this injustice. We, the people, we have the power, but we, the people, must get up so that we can exercise the power. Shut mouths don't get fed. And to all the brothers that are in the prisons, I just encourage them to be strong. To the people that have loved ones inside of the prisons, I just urge you to keep fighting because you are their voice.
Absolutely. So this is my motto here.
How long are you going to cry and blame your oppressor before you get up off your knees and do it your goddamn self?
Yes, how long are we gonna cry and blame our oppressor before we get up off our knees and do it our goddamn self? What I mean by that is, are we just gonna lay down in the grass and say, oh, help us, help us, help us, and stay there? Or you gonna get up and walk out the woods yourself? I keep telling people, I know a lot of activists and a lot of activist friends down my timeline, and I tell them, look, nobody's coming to help. Nobody. Oh, weak people with no money, no power. You have no say, so shut up and take it. Anyway, make sure you guys go to My Life in the Shy's YouTube channel. If you guys want to find, it's Mark Clements. Clements is Clements. Man, follow his story, man. He is one of the John Berg torture victims who done 28 long years. Not only did he do it, his family did that time in prison.
My mother died. My mother died to get me out of prison. I had 18 months with my mother, and what I remember is a decaying lady. And most of the torture victims, mothers, they have died of cancer. So I just urge people, man, to get on board in this struggle against wrongful convictions and these inhumane conditions that exist behind these prison walls. Because if we don't do this, all we're doing is leaving a negative inherited for our kids due to the fact that they're going to get worse. Because we have seen 2 or 3 whole generations locked up inside of our prisons. We must demand and make change. And if you would like to contact me, you can go to Facebook, look up Mark Clements, or you can go to Twitter and you can find me under Prison Speaks. So let me tell you, I'm for the cause. I work with the Chicago Torture Justice Center in Chicago, Illinois. We ain't no strangers. We'll help you if we can.
All right, so, I teach on a proactive versus a reactive. My proactive approach, and we must teach a proactive and a reactive approach. My proactive approach is to spend your money, start a business. Everybody support that business from the community. Now is that time more than ever that we can start over. Our economy has been wiped clean. The most billionaires came out of the Great Depression, and we're facing that as of now. They came out of the Great Depression, millionaires and billionaires, because they redefined themselves on what they want to do collectively. So now, my cousin, she makes these masks. I want you guys to support her. I'm going to have her on this show. Make sure we got to survive the Great Depression first. That means protect yourself. When you walk out the house, take it seriously. Don't let your children go to parties. Do not visit your family and be congregating with your moms and you've been outside in a grocery store Because the grocery store, somebody could cough, sneeze in aisle 5, and 2 hours later you could come walking in and it's still particles in the air, and you didn't breathe it in, and you come home and take it to your mom, your family member. So make sure y'all stay covered up at all times when you walk out the house. I got the best team in the league, Chicago Bears, of course. Anyway, make sure you guys go to YouTube. Shout out to my homeboy Joseph Boyd. My Skin Is My Sin. Make sure you guys follow My Skin Is My Sin Facebook and YouTube page. Make sure you guys follow Mark Clements. I'ma tag him in this video when I finished. Anyway, you guys can find him on the tag to this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to My Life Inside's YouTube channel and share this video. Anyway, y'all, peace. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh.